Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. Today, guys, going to do another fragrance review by the house of Sucreabeille, and this one here is called Blood Drop. Check that out. So, if you haven't checked out Sucreabeille, I encourage you to check out the brand. You know, when I do fragrance reviews, remember they're going to be very basic. They're going to be real world reviews. You know, and when I break it down, you know, I'll give you the notes. I'll give you a little bit of a vibe from what the company's going for. But, you know, a lot of times with this stuff, you really only know what you're going to like. You know, if you only know if you're going to like it until you get your nose on it. You know what I'm just trying to say? You can't really, you know, if you've watched my reviews before in fragrances, you guys know that when guys give you guys know my opinion on guys who give that note breakdown where they'll read the notes and then they'll take you on a journey through the notes. And realistically, most people aren't really going to be able to smell all the notes that are listed. They're going to get a vibe, and they're going to get maybe a few notes and be like, oh yeah, and that's really based on what they've smelled in the past. You know, of course, if you've never smelled ambergris or you've never smelled, you know, any note, lemon, right? You're not really going to know you're smelling it. You know, we all know that when we smell lemons, we open a fridge and we have lemons, and they're like, ooh, I smell lemons. If you've never smelled it before, you'd be like, what is that? I don't know what that is. And I think a lot of us, we don't really have each note individually to train our nose to really be able to pinpoint all those notes. So there's fragrance reviewers and there's fragrance reviewers. Mine are really kind of everyday, average Joe, everyday reviewer kind of interpretations on what I get, you know. And a lot of times when I smell a fragrance on camera, my first, I guess, thought is, what does it remind me of? What pops into my head? Does it remind me of a situation, a place, a memory, a person? And I like to share that with you guys because that's kind of my fun with scents and the journey that I take in discovering new brands and new fragrances. Now, I always look at the notes, of course, like I think most of us do who are frag heads, to kind of see if it's something we might like, you know. But ultimately, at the end of the day, sometimes you'll have a note breakdown where it looks really interesting, you get it, and you're like, all right, well, that smells like something else I have. And I think that's what I really like about Fragrantica, because you can get other people's opinions, and like I always say, before, whether you watch my, whether you watch my channel for watches or fragrances, whatever it may be, always take into consideration people's opinions on what they say, and then make your own educated, guess on whether you're going to like it or not, or whether you want to buy it or not, So you ultimately never know until you get your own nose on it, right? And that's, or hands on it. That's like with anything. So, all right, so let's talk about Sucreabeille. So Sucreabeille is one of those brands that it's an indie house. It's woman-owned. I will say that I think they really gear more towards women, which I think is a disservice to the brand because a lot of their fragrances are unisex. I'd say most of them. It's the kind of brand that if you are a frag head and you enjoy the scent journey, I would definitely consider checking this brand out. Now, this is the kind of brand, again, I think has a little bit of and I'm not trying to insult the brand. They want to run it how they want to run it, and more power to them. But I think personally it's a brand that has a little bit of an identity crisis, because if you look at the names of their fragrances and the huge write-ups they have about the journey, about what the theme is, and where they're going when they made these fragrances, which I think is fantastic. Because when you read that, then you smell it, it takes you, it's the entire package. It takes you on the journey. When you smell it, you're going to kind of relate to that article or relate to that write-up and say, oh, I get what they were, I get the vibe they're going for. And I think the vibe is important with a lot of different fragrances that are more than just like, does it smell good or not? I just want to smell good, It's kind of a journey and it's fun. At least to me it is. So let's talk about the notes on this first. So cozy, warm blankets, cloves, butter cookies, and a blood of course. And of course, the name is called Blood Drop. Now, when we think of blood, if you've ever cut yourself and maybe smelled blood, I don't know if you ever have, maybe disgusting or not, whatever it may be, blood kind of has like an irony, kind of like iron smell. It has its own odor. Now, I'm going to tell you when I smell this, what do I get? Do I get that comparison? And of course, again, does it remind me of anything? But I just want to get back to, before we move forward, a lot of their fragrances, when you go to their website, and I want you to go to their website and check out the brand, but when you go to their website, it's a very basic, plain, very user-friendly site, right? But it doesn't really speak to their vibe, It's boring to me. And I don't mean that to be insulting, but it is. Their brand, their logo, their labels, I mean, check out the labels. We have like some devils on this. I believe they're devils or vampires or something. You got a little drop of blood. They're very very interesting, right? They're very artistic. When you go to their website, it's just plain old white and purple website. And it doesn't really relay what their brand is all about. And I think that there's a little bit of identity crisis there, because this brand, when we look at the different fragrances, at least that I have, we have Blood Drop, we have Free Candy, we have Hard as Blood, right? We have Blood Drunk, Bloodlust. We have, what is this one? Banshee, with this kind of like demon lady or something like that. We have, I can't even read that. Aquatarian. We have Impending Doom, Venom, Fire Witch, Kitchen Witch, Chloroform, Goth as Fuck. This company, if you look at just on the ones that and they have hundreds of different fragrances, it's a very gothic company to me. It's like a very Hot Topic type of company, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if you found this line in Hot Topic. One of the fragrances I always say, Goth as Fuck, it smells just like Hot Topic when you walk in there. I'm not sure what I'm smelling, which note it is, but you know, I definitely make that association. With this company, when you go to their website, it just looks like your typical, like what you'd expect from like an Etsy brand, you know. And I think this brand really deserves more. I think that this brand, you know, it's very dark and gothic and very unique. You know, when I think of these names, these fragrances, my first impression, I said it in other videos, is that I would like to go to a website that was black with, you know, like just a darkness to it that fits what some of these like fragrances are going for, right? You know, and you know, I think that would really help the brand's identity. When I look at fragrance reviewers who have reviewed these, they're all women, and nothing wrong with that, gals. But you know, I'm like the only guy on here who's even mentioned this brand, and you know, I think that this brand is not just a woman's brand. This is a unisex brand, and a lot of these fragrances are unisex fragrances. I'm sure they have some that are more geared towards women, but Blood Drop is definitely something a man can wear, and most of the fragrances that they sent me, I would say all of them a man can wear. So I think that they're losing a lot of, you know, clientele or customers by not kind of specializing or kind of opening their doors a little bit in their branding. You know, when you see all women reviewing stuff on YouTube, you assume without going any further, oh, it's a woman's brand, you know. But it's not, you know. And so, gentlemen, I encourage you to check out the brand because they have some really amazing fragrances. If you are a frag head like myself, the journey is a lot of fun. I would definitely check out what they have to say about their fragrances. And what I really like about their fragrances as well is that every fragrance has a huge story about, you know, about what this particular fragrance is meant to be themed after, right? And I don't want to read you all of it, but what I want you to do is go to their website, click the link in the description, and check out what they have to say. So I'm just going to read you the first paragraph, though, on this particular one, Blood Drop. So, the moon has risen. The day was just beginning for Sylvia, Giorgio, Luisa, and Claudius, who were sitting around their shared kitchen table, planning out the day's evenings, drinking their mugs of synthetic blood. Claudius shivers after every sip. You all know I hate this stuff. I much prefer the real thing, he said with a sigh. So vampire-ish, right? A couple of vampires sitting around. You know, and that's kind of the vibe that I see with a lot of their different fragrances. There's this darkness, this vampire sort of. What's the movie I'm thinking? I just did a video about their other fragrance, and I can't think of it. Underworld. You know, if you ever watch Underworld, that is the type of theme I want to see with fragrances like this. When we look at zoologists, their branding is all about the animal kingdom and these different, that's their theme. With this company, I do feel in my heart that their theme is very vampirish. It's very gothic. And I would like to see something a little different with their branding. I think it would help people to really understand what this brand is all about. Now, maybe they don't want to necessarily lean that far with one specific kind of niche, right? But when we look at, you know, just a lot of their collections, Mouthy Broad collection, the Supernatural collection, Frozen Embers, the Solar Witches collection, House Novels collection, my favorite murder podcast collection. They're all very dark. This is a dark house. And so I would like to see, and I'm going to tell them, I would like to see their website reflect their identity. And I think that the brand would do a lot better. So I don't know how good they do now, but it is an incredible brand. So let's get to the fragrance now after you've heard me ramble after my pot of coffee here. So, all right. So, let me go back to Blood Drop. Sorry, guys. All right. All right. So, again, check out their website. Read it. So, on the label, again, we have, from what I can tell, without, this is a little bit small, but it seems like what I thought was actually like, I can't see this, what I thought was like vampires or whatever. It's actually blood dripping down the label. Very gothic label. Very potion-ish like, you know, definitely pretty cool in my opinion. As far as the note breakdown, exit out. As far as the note breakdown, we have not a lot of notes, and that's what I like about their brand. Their fragrances are very simple, so it's easier to discern between the different notes and to say, oh, I get that, I smell that. So, cozy warm blankets, clothes, butter cookies, and blood accord. So let me just pop the cap and see what we get. See, so many of these fragrances, every time I smell, it's not just one. It's a lot of their fragrances. I'm not sure if it's like they say the DNA, but they all bring me to October, to like Halloween. The darkness and the spookiness of Halloween. There's just something about them that brings me there. So this, I mean, this to me like is over the top, like kitchen sweetness cookies. I totally get the cookies part of it. And the cozy warm blankets, that's kind of like a fictitious note. There is a coziness about this. Like if you wear this around a female, I guarantee, gentlemen, if you wear this around a female, she's going to say, you smell good. I guarantee you that this is one that snuggling up with your lady or going on a little date, she's going to be like, oh man, I can't stop smelling you. Because you do smell like cookies. First, the blood accord, I kind of get there's a little bit of that iron-like quality, but if you didn't list that this had this in it, I would just say, oh, there's something else in there. I can't really pinpoint the blood there, but there is kind of like this iron vibe with it. And after seeing that it says blood, it does kind of open up my mind a little bit. We're saying, okay, I get where they're going with that, but pretty amazing fragrance. And again, what I like about Sucreabeille is that they're simple fragrances. Like you're going to get the vibe when you look at the notes, be like, I get that. You know, whereas other brands, when they have like, you know, 15 different notes, you're like, all right, I get vanilla and I get wood. You know, everything else I don't get, you know. And I think they are simple. They're not overly complex, but they're very, very, very well-themed, simple fragrances. And if you like sweet, delicious smelling fragrances, this is definitely one that, again, to me, I just picture like the weather changing. Again, I like to give my story. I picture like the weather changing, the fall time, the leaves are falling. It's not cold, but it's getting there. And every time I do a video, I'm just going to let it ring. I definitely get that vibe. And again, like, you know, your lady or your mom in the kitchen, you know, cooking some cookies or something like that. You know, Halloween trick-or-treaters coming up, putting the pumpkins out. That's the vibe this has. So, anyway, pretty awesome fragrance. I love this brand, and I encourage you to check them out. If you have any questions or comments, do drop me a comment. I will do my best to answer the question and get you the information. And stay tuned for more. I got a lot more fragrances in this house. If you have any special requests, let me know. I do appreciate when you guys take the time to comment. If you do have a request, I'll try to get my hands on it, and we'll just go from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day, and take care.